visiting Tuol Sleng today. I saw foreign visitors. And I came to study more with my brothers and sisters and also took the opportunity to record a video to share with you. Just hearing the word Tuol Sleng and this barbed wire fence, I believe you really know that this is Tuol Sleng Prison, or we call it the Tuol Sleng Genocide Museum. Please come and visit with me. This is the barbed wire fence of Tuol Sleng Prison, which is located on Street 113 in the center of Phnom Penh. Originally, in the 1960s, it was Chao Phan Hia Yat High School, which had two educational institutions, Tuol Sleng Primary School and Tuol Svay Prey High School. But it was taken over by the Khmer Rouge as a detention and interrogation center in August 1975, for months after the Khmer Rouge came to power.
One of the most important security departments in the Democratic Kampuchea regime was known as the 21 Security Department. The letter S, representing the word for security, and the number 21 was the last two digits of the ICOM, walkie-talkie, number of Comrade Nat, the former head of Department 21. This security department was located in the southern part of Phnom Penh, in the Tuol Svay Prey district. Department 21 was used to detain, interrogate, torture, and kill prisoners who were sent here after the middle of 1976. Not a single prisoner was released from this prison. Out of about 14,000 prisoners, only about 12 survived after the fall of the Democratic Kampuchea regime. These prisoners were spared because they had special qualities that were useful to Department 21. Some of them were painters, watchmakers, and sculptors. Department 21 was the former Chao Phan Hia Yat High School, built in 1962. The prison was located on a plot of land measuring 600 meters long and 400 meters wide. Behind the school fence were two thatched buildings that housed the primary school, Tuol Svay Prey. All these buildings formed the 21 prisons during the Democratic Kampuchea regime. The 21 prisons were surrounded by a galvanized fence and barbed wire with electricity. The prison complex consisted of 4 large buildings. The classrooms on the ground floor were divided into smaller rooms measuring 8 by 2 meters. The first floor classroom, measuring 8 by 6 meters, was used for holding prisoners. On the second floor, each room was large and held 40 to 50 prisoners. One room was used as the office of Dutch, the prison director. Another room was used as an office. The general administration office, a number of houses near the prison, was used as an interrogation room for torture. Most of the prisoners in Ward S-21 were accused of treason or betrayal of the party, or had worked for treasonous cadres who had already been arrested. For some time, the leaders of the Communist Party of Cambodia had become increasingly suspicious and distrustful of their own cadres and troops. For example, in October 1976, during the process of tightening national security, Pol Pot arrested many senior party cadres and took them to Ward S-21. The Khmer Rouge leaders realized that the enemy was everywhere in the country and were arresting many Communist Party members every month. In addition to the Cambodian prisoners held in Tuol Sleng Prison, there were about 400 foreign prisoners, most of whom were Vietnamese prisoners who were considered to be undercover agents, KCB. The staff of Ward 21 also became prisoners there for reasons such as laziness in preparing documents, damaging machines and other equipment, or beating prisoners to death without permission during interrogation. Most of the confessions in Ward 21 were false because most of the prisoners had not committed any serious crimes, and the prisoners confessed only to escape torture. The regulations in the 21 prison are posted on the wall in the prison compound. The prison rules in the 21 prison include 10 points. First, ask questions and do not divert my questions. Second, do not solve the problem by using this or that excuse according to your own ideas, hide it, or deny it. Third, do not act stupidly and do not understand the problem because you dare to oppose the revolution. Fourth, ask immediately and answer immediately. Do not hesitate for a minute. Fifth, minor shortcomings such as moral corruption, do not talk about the content of the revolution. Sixth, do not shout or beat or electrocute. Seventh, do not do anything. Sit quietly and wait for my orders. Do not do anything. Do not immediately argue about what I order.
Brothers and all friends, now that you have entered the premises, you will see a ticket counter and a ticket checkpoint. For foreign visitors, the entrance fee is $5, while for Cambodian visitors, students, it is free. And if you want to know more about the history of Tuol Sleng Prison, you can hire a tour guide at the museum or rent a headset that is available in more than 10 languages. You can see it here and rent it. It has Chinese, English, Japanese, Korean, and everything else. The cost of renting this headset is $5. You can see that these are tourists who ride on a scooter, and most of them are European and American. There are also some friends who are guides who bring guests to visit.
Eighth, do not use the excuse of Cambodia Krom to cover up your treacherous face. Ninth, if you do not follow all the above orders, you will be whipped and electrocuted for 1 day. 10th, if you violate my rules, you will be whipped 15 times or electrocuted 5 times. Another regulation for prisoners is the closure of the building. If the ban is 5 points, the first is not to talk to each other at all, whether you know them or not. Second, if you want to do something, you must have permission from the guard. Third, do not make noise in the place where you are staying. Fourth, when the guard or anyone else enters, everyone must lie down. Fifth, when searching, you must put your hands behind your back and not move freely. When sent to the 21 prison, all prisoners were photographed and required to write a detailed biography from childhood to the day of their arrest. The prisoners were stripped of their clothes except for their pants, and all their belongings were confiscated. Then the prisoners were taken to a cell where they were held. All prisoners were shackled with chains attached to the wall or floor. As for the prisoners who were taken to the main cell, their legs were shackled with a long iron rod. These shackles were attached to alternating iron bars so that the prisoners had to lie with their heads facing each other. The prisoners had to sleep directly on the floor without a mattress, mosquito net, or blanket. The prisoners were told not to talk to each other. Mr. Van At, a survivor, described his life in the S-21 prison. In the 21 prison, I was shackled with a long iron rod with more than 30 other prisoners. The Khmer Rouge gave us 2 meals a day. All prisoners received a ration, 4 small spoons of porridge and mixed vegetables and leaves. Talking was strictly forbidden. If anyone wanted to sit up or drink water, they had to ask the guard's permission first. Doing anything without the guard's permission would result in a severe beating. They made us take a bath every 4 days. They would take a hose and throw it from the door. If we were far from the door, we would not get enough water. Every day, prisoners were brought in for questioning, and some were never seen again. But we saw new prisoners being brought in to replace them. At 4:30 in the morning, the prisoners were stripped naked for the guard to inspect. The guard had to check if the handcuffs were loose or if the prisoner had anything that could be used to commit suicide. After a while, many prisoners committed suicide. Therefore, the guard had to be very careful in checking the handcuffs in the room. The living conditions in Ward S-21 were so dirty that most prisoners developed scabies and lice. There was no medicine in the prison. The medical staff in Ward S-21 were not properly trained and only treated to delay death. However, after being severely injured during interrogation, prisoners were blindfolded and taken from the detention center to the interrogation center. The guards did not allow prisoners to talk to each other. Moreover, different groups of people were not allowed to communicate within the prison. Many brutal torture methods were used with prisoners held in the S-21 prison to obtain confessions. Sometimes prisoners were beaten with sticks and electric shocks or electrocuted. Other torture methods used in the 21 prison included lighting cigarettes, forcing them to eat feces or drink urine, having needles inserted into their bodies, or being hung upside down by their hands for a whole day, or being hung upside down with their feet up and their heads down. Some prisoners were stabbed with knives, or had their noses covered with a bag. Other methods such as pulling out fingernails and pouring alcohol on them, or being immersed were used to extract confessions. prisoners died during the torture of female prisoners, tortured by stripping or forcing them to strip naked. Some female prisoners were raped by interrogators, even though sexual assault was against the policy of Democratic Kampuchea. Interrogators found to have committed this act were executed. In the confession, prisoners were required to describe their personal history. If they were party members, the exact date of their entry into the revolution was given, and the work they had done was described. Then, the prisoners were required to describe their treacherous acts in order. On the third day of the confession, the prisoners were required to describe their failed conspiracy or other treacherous conversations. At the end of the confession, the prisoners were required to write down the names of their other teams. Traitor networks, which were friends, colleagues, or people the prisoners knew. Some confessions listed up to 100 people involved. Most of those named on the list were taken for questioning because the torture at Ward S-21 was so brutal that prisoners often confessed whatever they could think of, even if the answers were wrong. About 1,000 staff work in 21 departments, of which about 400 are general staff, including vegetable growers to meet prison needs. In addition, there is a prison labor force that works.
Tuol Sleng is a museum in Phnom Penh commemorating the genocide in Cambodia. This is the former Security Center 21, also known as the 21 of the democratic regime led by Pol Pot, originally called Salat, when the Khmer Rouge came to power on April 17, 1975. This center was a place of brutal interrogation, torture, and execution after the confessions were completed. This means that when the prisoner confessed, he had completed the confessions and was killed at once. On the day of liberation, January 7, 1979, the party and state organized a collection of evidence from Center 21, such as photographs, film, confessions of victims, torture equipment, leg cuffs, and the bodies of 14 victims, and also cleaned and put on display for national and international visitors to visit. The Tuol Sleng Genocide Museum opened its doors on the day the People's Revolutionary Court of Cambodia held a trial to try the leaders of Democratic Kampuchea, Mr. Ieng Sari and Q Samphan, on the 19th of August, 1979. children were divided into groups by the Khmer Rouge based on physical appearance, not by age. Children with larger and stronger bodies were recruited by the Khmer Rouge into mobile units. Children who looked small were introduced into the children's units. Children who joined the mobile units had to work like teenagers or adults as part of building dams, digging canals, cultivating rice or constructing farm dikes, etc. Young children had to remove the grass, pick up cows/buffalo dung, herd the cows/buffaloes, cut shrubs, Chromalina odorotol to make fertilizer, and fend off the birds from entering the paddy fields. Regardless of the task, all children had to work long hours every day and did not rest sufficiently. Moreover, all children received very little food rations and, as a result, many fell sick or died. This uncle recounts his childhood during the Khmer Rouge era, as shown in the video.
người ở tay bên chưa thấy vừa làm mà không tao mò biết và chặt tao về ngoài hồ chung thằng nhá hàng làm điều kia thì nó tặng mặt mặt na smart chất là từ một thi ót là từ ót hiền là từ thị trấn từ ót hiền mà đối với ót hiền chặt đào đào là làm người việt hoặc người biết hoặc của to ba cái cái từ từ rồi cái bộ nhóm cái hai đại
Sleng Genocide Museum, one of the 3 departments of the prison, and including the staff working in the office of the 21 department. The departments of the 21 department include the documentation department, the protection department, and the interrogation department. The documentation department is responsible for transcribing confessions from the newspaper, typing the prisoners' confessions, summarizing their texts, and organizing the files. The staff working in the photography department is responsible for taking half-length photographs of prisoners upon their arrival, photographing prisoners at the scene of their deaths in the cells, and photographing important prisoners after their executions. Thousands of photographs survive to this day, but thousands more have been lost. The protection department is the largest department in the 21 department. The security forces in this department are mostly teenagers. Most of the security forces have difficulty obeying the strict orders of the department. The security forces are not allowed to talk to prisoners, ask them their names, or beat them up. The security forces are prohibited from peeking into interrogations and must strictly adhere to the 30-point rule that prohibits lying down, sitting, or leaning against the walls while on duty. The security forces must walk around and inspect everything with the utmost care. Any security personnel who committed a serious crime were arrested, interrogated, and then executed. Most of the workers in the 21 department were very afraid of possible crimes and feared torture and execution. The interrogation units were divided into 3 groups: the hot group, the cold group, and the harsh group. The hot group, sometimes called the catch group, could torture during interrogation. On the other hand, the cold group, sometimes called the kelp group, was not allowed to use torture in interrogation. If the group could not get a confession from the prisoner, they were sent to the hot group, the harsh group. In serious and important cases, the interrogation lasted for a long time, sometimes continuing into the middle of the night. The interrogators could read and write and were generally over 20 years old. Department 21 was under the control of the Ministry of National Defense, led by Son Sen, known as Myth Q. Before joining the Communist Party of Cambodia, Son Sen had studied in France and worked as a teacher. It should be noted that Comrade Son Sen was originally from South Vietnam. Namely, he was born in Tra Vinh Province, which in Khmer is called Pria Trapiang Province. Senior leaders in Department S-21 included Dutch, who was the head of Department S-21. Kim Vat was the deputy head of Department 21. Mam Nai was the deputy head of S-21. Hong was the commander of the guards. Deputy head of Department S-21 was the commander of the guards. Chan was the head of the interrogation unit and Pon was the interrogator. Pon interrogated many important prisoners, including Keo Mies, Ne Saran and Hunim and Phok Chai. These were all former teachers. Most of the prisoners were held in Department S-21 for 2 to 3 months. However, some senior Khmer Rouge cadres were held in Department S-21 for months, and gave hundreds of pages of confessions after being brought to Department S-21 for 2 or 3 days. All were brought for interrogation without any concern for the truth. All prisoners had to confess that they were traitors to the revolution and had committed crimes. The interrogators recited that after the interrogation was complete, the prisoners would be taken to be destroyed, a term used in the Democratic Kampuchea regime instead of the word killed. In the first years of the operation of the S-21 prison, the bodies of prisoners were buried near Tuol Sleng Genocide Museum, one of the 3 departments of the prison, and including the staff working in the office of the 21 department. The departments of the 21 department include the documentation department, the protection department, and the interrogation department. The documentation department is responsible for transcribing confessions from the newspaper, typing the prisoners' confessions, summarizing their texts, and organizing the files. The staff working in the photography department is responsible for taking half-length photographs of prisoners upon their arrival, photographing prisoners at the scene of their deaths in the cells, and photographing important prisoners after their executions. Thousands of photographs survive to this day, but thousands more have been lost. The protection department is the largest department in the 21 department. The security forces in this department are mostly teenagers. Most of the security forces have difficulty obeying the strict orders of the department. The security forces are not allowed to talk to prisoners, ask them their names, or beat them up. The security forces are prohibited from peeking into interrogations and must strictly adhere to the 30-point rule that prohibits lying down, sitting, or leaning against the walls while on duty. The security forces must walk around and inspect everything with the utmost care. Any security personnel who committed a serious crime were arrested, interrogated, and then executed. Most of the workers in the 21 department were very afraid of possible crimes and feared torture and execution. The interrogation units were divided into 3 groups: the hot group, the cold group, and the harsh group. The hot group, sometimes called the catch group, could torture during interrogation. On the other hand, the cold group, sometimes called the kelp group, was not allowed to use torture in interrogation. If the group could not get a confession from the prisoner, they were sent to the hot group, the harsh group. In serious and important cases, the interrogation lasted for a long time, sometimes continuing into the middle of the night. The interrogators could read and write and were generally over 20 years old. Department 21 was under the control of the Ministry of National Defense, led by Son Sen, known as Myth Q. Before joining the Communist Party of Cambodia, Son Sen had studied in France and worked as a teacher. It should be noted that Comrade Son Sen was originally from South Vietnam. Namely, he was born in Tra Vinh Province, which in Khmer is called Pria Trapiang Province. Senior leaders in Department S-21 included Dutch, who was the head of Department S-21. Kim Vat was the deputy head of Department 21. Mam Nai was the deputy head of S-21. Hong was the commander of the guards. Deputy head of Department S-21 was the commander of the guards. Chan was the head of the interrogation unit and Pon was the interrogator. Pon interrogated many important prisoners, including Keo Mies, Ne Saran and Hunim and Phok Chai. These were all former teachers. Most of the prisoners were held in Department S-21 for 2 to 3 months. However, some senior Khmer Rouge cadres were held in Department S-21 for months and gave hundreds of pages of confessions after being brought to Department S-21 for 2 or 3 days. All were brought for interrogation without any concern for the truth. All prisoners had to confess that they were traitors to the revolution and had committed crimes. The interrogators recited that after the interrogation was complete, the prisoners would be taken to be destroyed, a term used in the Democratic Kampuchea regime instead of the word killed. In the first years of the operation of the S-21 prison, the bodies of prisoners were buried near.
Juste le lendemain, on a fêté pour 3 jours la fête de Nouvel An. Ils ont pris d'ici le lendemain matin. On était contents avec eux à l'époque. C'était quand même libéré de la paix. Tout ça, c'était des soldats, des femmes et des jeunes.
C'était au début, jusqu'à la fête. Le premier jour, la libération.
C'est la première fois. Ils ont demandé aussi oui, en prochain, pas d'abord, la ville, la maison. Ça c'est la première fois. Ici c'est deuxième, troisième fois. Encore il faut quitter de la maison endroit aussi. Ma maman ici on fait de tous les villes. Sauf celui-ci, c'était déjà que la campagne, il n'y avait pas de ville. C'est tout les choses ici, c'était des bâtiments qui étaient là, des villes. Sinon voilà, c'est comme vous, ma mère, avec sa famille, elles étaient ici quand même. Après, sa mère, qui était partie du nord, elle est partie au sud avec les...
c'est séparé les familles.
Oui, séparé. On s'en avait pas même. Après, elle a changé aussi de l'autre côté, ici, comme avant, au début, c'était ici à côté. Elle a dit qu'elle a fait de contact comme on se trouve ici pour la deuxième fois. Après la fin de la guerre, elle se retrouve ici dans Phnom Penh. Ça s'attend ici, dans Phnom Penh. Elle avait dit aussi, elle voulait toujours aussi retrouver sa famille, mais comme elle voulait quitter l'endroit, il y a des soldats qui tapent derrière, en battant qui tapent derrière pour pas aller pour rester là. 2 fois, elle voulait plus quitter l'endroit, elle voulait plus retrouver ça. Ça, elle est beaucoup à raconter aussi la révolution. Elle a travaillé les habitants dans le communauté, les hommes blancs, les femmes, beaucoup de sinon. Les yeux comme vous, avec les lunettes. Les soldats ici, Khmer Rouge. Toujours le Khmer Rouge. Pour vous dire, ce sont des soldats. Les victimes, les ministres de défense, national défense, qui a l'armée, la famille de lui, sa famille. quand même pour les grands, ça remplace les animaux. Je ne voulais pas utiliser les animaux, les vaches, les bouches, parce qu'ils ont dit les vaches, du coup, c'était pas comme nous, les hommes. On savait que on est à gauche, on est à droite, on est droit. Nous, les animaux, il faut taper, tout ça. Donc c'est les hommes, ça remplace les vaches. Pardon. Nous, on ne savait pas pourquoi Pol Pot, soldat de Pol Pot, les bras qu'on mange au début, on a bien mangé. Ils ont demandé un peu. Kemudian nous on a comme boîte de lait concentré et on utilise pour servir la même quantité pour le café. Par exemple, moi et ma femme.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the photo taken by the photographer of the regime. This is the daily living standard of the people. It is super different from the living standard of the people in the country during 75 to 79. That, as I told you, people were forced to be the farmer, to grow rice, to build the dam, to dig the canal. 10 to 12 hours a day. Yes, my brother at that time was around 7 or 8 or 9, 10 years old. And they were separated, easy to run boss, and then was forced to work all kind of this job. At least collect the buffalo seeds or the trap seed for fertilizer. And my parents did that. And they were only limited to eat the food. I can tell you, I told you already, about 2 minutes before I because of that. Do not think here. Nobody will die from the killing field only for that. No. Die more than the reason that killing field because of too much labor force, starvation and disease. And then look at this, ladies and gentlemen. The man on the very left side who is made to get this. There. The greatest master Pol Pot of Phnom. I told you already, when did he die? How could he become a leader? And when did he die? What I told you already. At Son Sen, the Minister of National Defense. Do you remember what I told you about this man? Son Sen, Pol Pot suspected as Vietnamese spy. And then Pol Pot sent 10,000 soldiers to capture the entire family and then kill Son Sen and the 2 daughters and Dung, the granddaughter of Son Sen, were brutally left by Pol Pot soldiers and cut off the head after. And then these 2 men died before the special court was established. And then only the 5 remaining leaders were captured. You will see their photo. And here, the president of this prison, S-21. Yeah, he was responsible about 20,000 people, men, women, foreigner, politicians, soldiers, journalists, and so on. Here, this is the entire government. Pol Pot, Munji, Inzri, and Son Sen, they were the foremost powerful men of this region. You will see their statue at the end of the building. And these 2 men, Barbed and Pol Pot, suspected as Vietnamese spies. They were captured, CIA. They were captured and killed after them. They were from this government. Yeah. And a group photo, that Pol Pot soldier arrived in the city. The people, they were so happy to see that this soldier will come to see the civil war in Cambodia. And a few hours later, the people were forced to leave to the countryside this way. Only walk, no food, no water, and proper transportation. And the soldier and politicians were captured and killed outside the city from Khmer Republic and the King government. And I want to show you the Pol Pot now. this area, on the top of the mountain along the Thai border. And the people in this area still believe that Pol Pot was a grand leader, is still a grand leader of Cambodia, as I told you. And the clothes that Pol Pot, that the children, 5 children tied to escape the killer that killed 14 people. But do not expect the clothes that the same as the clothes you're wearing. Super smelly, super dirty and disgusting. And the uniform of the government that Pol Pot designed for his regime, ladies and gentlemen. The uniform with the scarf to soldiers. This is the uniform of the Khmer Rouge society that they dress the farmer. The scarf used by the farmer at the countryside mostly, that was saying that the farmer is a holy man, the honest man of the society. That is why Pol Pot neglected the scarf with his uniform. But do not expect that the scarf belongs to Pol Pot regime. No, the genocide regime. No, the scarf used by Cambodian people more than 2,000 years already. If you visit Siem Reap or the curve on the wall, you will see that Cambodia carry that scarf 1,000 years already. And Pol Pot designed the uniform with the scarf. And here, these are the young prison guards. The young prison guards that Pol Pot government recruited to be the soldier, the security guard, and the killer of this region. What are the 2 main conditions that they will capture with this to be the son of the government? What are the 2 main conditions for this? Very easy question. In order to be the soldier, the killer of Pol Pot government, there must be uneducated people, there must be very poor people. That is the 2 main reasons. Why? Easy to brainwash, easy to assign them to do anything in the government. They are the former prison guards of this prison. They were between 14, 15, 16 and 17 years old, while the prisoners were around 30, 20, 15, 16, 17 years old. What did this young prison guard call the victim? During interrogation, torture, and so on. This prison guard called the prisoner that motherfucker dog or motherfucker blind. And the prison guard and the prisoner called this young man respectful comrade or respectful brother. Ladies and gentlemen, you can move around. You will see more photo of the prison guard, the living victim, and the other prisoner around, ladies and gentlemen. Inside the victim killed the soldier and the government, so they were captured and sent to this prison. And during the prison operation and before they were killed, I told you already what happened to the women victims. So we can move around. For the first time, I could not do it after. I cried a lot. Then after my client said that you rest for 13 years on hour, that you will learn and you can come back. Because it's too much for us. It's so my heart to prison you because it's so shameful to us that Cambodian people. And here, the atrocity of the victim that they suffer from this prison. You see the photo here, the prisoner already died. This prisoner was not that executed, but by the Why? Why did they die? Sickness. Starvation, disease, sickness, too much torture. And this is the situation of the prisoner that they are during torture. And this is the VIP prisoner. And the photo, a group photo of intellectual, ladies and gentlemen. A group of intellectual or educated people. The enemy of the communist revolution. But can you tell me how could the government of Pol Pot identify who were educated people? How could they identify and reveal that? Oh, this man is educated, this man is doctor, this man is lawyer, so on. How could they identify? Very easy question to answer. One thing, one answer to read. Yes. Sometimes they test the people there who were the former government officers. Raise up your hand. The government, our government needs you to go back to Phnom Penh and we will double pay you monthly with the same position. You happy to hear that? Everyone happy? Raise up. One more thing, they notice about how the people speak and communicate and the sentence structure, and they can notice about some people that wear the glasses. That's it. And the people that have the soft skin, white skin, and so on. And some people, the entire family is gone. And then this is the evidence of the entire family who were captured and killed together. I can tell you that 99% of Cambodian people lost their family member, and some, the entire family, they make them not. This is the evidence of the entire family. Everyone, please hear. If you remember the family that I want you to have a look and make an opinion, what is lady and the son? This lady and the son was family of Phnom Penh. And there is a chance that Pol Pot ordered to be assassinated after not only the husband, the wife and the son was the true leader. He was smashed the head against the tree and the tree and the living they could only back and so on. And I want you to check the other children photos, please. These are the children photos. They are the children photos that suffered and who was smashed the head against the tree and telling fear. And the photo of the women and young girls in that church. And the photo of another mother and the son. Son was younger than them. They captured and killed the right victim, the right suspected people. So they quickly caught, and the prisoner was ordered to drop the signature. With their photo and the documents of biography, you will see those evidence inside the hospital and in that movie. And then everyone, look at this. These are the foreigner photos. A few foreigner photos from India. They were KGB. And here, also met David Boy Scott, John Hunt from England, and Kerry Hamid from New Zealand. They were accused and suspected as CIA, but they were not opposed. But because of torture, they accepted the CIA. And then this New Zealander was forced by them to drop the name of this boss. Who was your boss? Tell me. If you do not want to get another torture. In order to avoid the torture, a New Zealander agreed to drop the name of this boss. He didn't recognize the fake confession. You will probably laugh. Mr. Curry Hamel, remember one man from the US, and he dropped the name of that man to test Mr. Good knowledge whether he recognize that man or not. What is your expectation of this man person? I think you will laugh.
The US president?
No. He said that Colonel Sanders is my boss. The owner of the KFC. And Mr. Good believes that Colonel Sanders is the chief of CIA, his boss. And Mr. Good kept this man record to Mr. Something Pol Pot and you will see his confession by the king, a New Zealander.
So he wasn't killed or was
he? Was killed after that. He was sent to the killing.
You can confess.
Yes.
And the journalist?
Yes, this man is a journalist. And these two men they were tourists. Tourists? Yes, they traveled from Singapore to Thailand with the boat. But their boat broke because of the storm and we moved the boat to the sea of Cambodia. And Pol Pot soldiers captured them and sent them to this prison with the accusation of CIA because of their physical appearance, the white skin, the blue eye, and so on.
Did any tourists get sent to the farms?
No.
No one was killed.
The tourists, as you can see, foreigners were brought to the prison directly.
They don't have foreign IDs for the countries, right?
Confess and sent to the killing field after. You saw their boat at the killing field. Now you see the owner of the victim burned. And this is the long-haired man. Yeah, they used to lock the leg of the women and the younger senator during the transit inside the student classroom of the second floor. The man is separated from the woman, and then the prisoner were allowed to take shower. They show the water from outside through the slum like this, and they count. The prisoner count 1 until 10. 1 until 10 for what? For the woman foreigners to take off their clothes completely. If no one could not completely take off the clothes with their sample or with their advertisement, the prisoner will come and bring the bandage, the fire to strike the victim before, hit the chest of the victim, slap or punch the victim after. The victim must follow the prisoner. Take off the clothes and shower the animal. That was the situation that the prisoner took the shower during the detention of this prisoner. And the other evidence of the victims that they died before they were sent to the killing field. They died of torture, starvation, disease, and as I told you, some prisoners died were torture negative. And this is the evidence of the anger I told you already. Since trying to escape from this prison, do you understand with this photo? You understand? How did he escape from this prison? By that way. Hangman.
It was pictures that saved Bu Meng, one of thousands of people who suffered at Tuol Sleng, the main prison and torture house of the Khmer Rouge. Almost all the prisoners who entered Tuol Sleng were killed, either at the prison or at a nearby killing field. Only Bu Meng and a handful of others survived, and so his story stands for those of all the others who died in silence. It offers a glimpse through a keyhole into the dark interior of the Khmer Rouge, who were responsible for the deaths of as many as 1/4 of Cambodia's population from 1975 to 1979. Bu Meng was saved, after weeks of torture, because he was an artist. He was taken from a row of shackled prisoners and put to work painting portraits of the Khmer Rouge leader, Pol Pot, and he continued, as others were tortured and killed, until the prison was hastily evacuated in the face of a Vietnamese invasion. "I am a victim of Pol Pot," he said. "And I was able to survive because of pictures of Pol Pot." Tuol Sleng has been converted into a museum of genocide, and its lower floors are filled with hundreds of portraits of victims, taken at the moment they arrived. Bu Meng visits from time to time, and when he does, he is surrounded by the images of ghosts. As he talks, standing in front of a panel of portraits, his face becomes one of them, stunned and questioning. They all died, he said. Among them only I am alive. His survival, when almost every one of the prisoners died, seems still to be too much to comprehend. Bu Meng's story, told with the help of one of the country's leading researchers, the journalist Hui Vanek, offers a rare and valuable glimpse into a world of savagery and into the life of a seemingly ordinary man who survived an extraordinary fate. Every night I looked out at the moon, Mr. Bu Meng recalled in a long talk. I heard people crying and sighing around the building. I heard people calling out, "Mother, help me! Mother, help me!" This was the time of death, he said, when prisoners were loaded into trucks and sent to a killing field. Every night, Bu Meng said, he feared that his moment had come. But when midnight passed, he said, I realized that I would live another day. Now, he said, the ghosts of those who died follow him, hovering over him in the dark, still skeletal from starvation, still wearing the black clothes that were the uniform in.
Bài chiên này, bài mới ở châu ta trọt nơi con người kia năm mà nếu còn Việt Nam mình năm na đôi năm nào năm na đôi năm nào năm na đôi năm na Việt Nam chặt con mò đợt chân buồn chập là bay Việt Nam và bay và bay năm bay là trong là kia đã kia to cô tình người ta rất nhiều thứ về chương trình này cho người ta này không là nhưng nơi quân hay là
Crouch mà.
Ma nhớ này. Cốc ma. Còn đó. Con trái đang ở đó. Con trái này.
Khmer Rouge times. They gather in front of his home, calling out to him to represent them and to find justice for them. At their center is his wife, Ma Yeon, who was arrested together with him in 1976 and was photographed along with him as they entered the prison complex. She then disappeared, and he has only seen her since in his visions. Time stopped for her, as for the other victims, and in her final photograph and in his memory, she remains young, still 20 years old. He carries the photograph in his wallet, tattered, about 2 inches square, the only picture he has of her. Only you, Bu Meng, can find justice for us, she told him in his visions. And as the decades passed, he waited for the moment when he could confront their torturer, Dutch, in a courtroom. The first encounter came in 2008, when the prisoner was brought by court officer to Tuol Sleng to view the scene of the crimes. Bu Meng was there, and when he saw him, Dutch bowed and raised his hands in a gesture of humility. He apologized, Bu Meng said. He asked for forgiveness. He said he was sorry that the Khmer Rouge had twisted his mind to do evil things to the Khmer people. Bu Meng said he responded with courtesy, but was unable to forgive. It was a stance that Dutch took during his 9-month trial in 2009, admitting his guilt, asking for forgiveness, but claiming that he was just one link in a chain of terror which everyone struggled to survive. This defense, put forward often by former Khmer Rouge cadre, is accepted by many Cambodians, possibly because it is easier to forge than to continue to wrestle with the pain of the past. But as the trial progressed and the stories of sadistic and gratuitous cruelty accumulated, it became harder to accept this defense. In one passage of the book, which he also recounted in the courtroom, Bu Ming talks of a teenage guard who brutalized an old man who lay asleep in chains. He stamped on the chest of that old man again and again. Bu Ming told Hui Vanek. Did not know why he did so or what was wrong with that old man. I heard that old man groaning as his mouth bled. Soon afterwards he died. When Bu Ming finally took the witness stand and confronted Dutch, it seemed now that the words of his wife were on his mind. A copy of the portrait he carries with him was displayed on the courtroom monitors. When the judges asked him if he wished to address the defendant, he had only one question. I really want to ask this question of the accused, he said. Where was my wife killed? If he knew, he said, he could say prayers over her bones. Invited by a judge to respond, Dutch said he did not know but supposed. It had been the killing field at Choang Ek. Then he said, please accept my highest regards and respect toward the soul of your wife. Bu Ming wept, hiding his face in his hands, and Dutch too turned away in agitation, his face trembling with tears. In a way, Bu Ming's story is a love story. Thoughts of his wife are at the center of his memories of pain and of happiness. Sometimes when I sit at home I look at the picture and everything seems fresh, he said in the interview. I think of the suffering she endured, and I wonder how long she stayed alive. But his memories also carry him farther into the past, to a time before the horror, when it was possible for him to hope. I have a new wife, but I still miss my first wife, because for everybody, the first love is the most important. At that time we were still a young boy and girl together. This is still the best memory and I'll never forget it, our honeymoon. After the wedding, that was the day of our honeymoon. We slept together. It was a perfect day.